What is up, guys? It's me, by Kwis, and we are back again with another video. And as you can tell by the title of today's video, we have someone very important to talk about, and that is Reina in Tekken 8. Now, since we first saw this trailer, everyone has been absolutely buzzing for this character. People love her, some people don't like her. I'm a big fan personally. I really like the design. Well, I need to preface that. So when it comes to her design in terms of outfit and like the face, like I'm not a huge fan of a lot of it. I think the outfit's kind of basic, could have been a bit better, but I think it does I think it fits the character very well. I'm just hoping she has some really cool presets. I think looking at how she looks, I feel like she must have some kind of like cool presets to go with that. So I'm really looking forward to those. And then in terms of like her personality, everything I'll be getting into later, big fan of that. Love the character. It's cool to have like a cocky, aggressive style, you know, a very expressive female character in Tekken, because a lot of the female characters in Tekken, like when it comes to personality wise, there's not too much you can really say about them. Like even one of our newest characters, Azusena, is pretty much just hyper coffee girl. So it's nice to see personality coming through the character based on the things that they say and the things that they do. And I wonder how that is going to impact the story. And the story is important because that's probably the number one thing we are going to be talking about here today. Because like the title says, I think Reina could really change a lot when it comes to Tekken moving forward. And I guess before I begin and go any further, I have to preface this by saying and get us all on the same page here, she is more likely than not Heihachi's secret daughter. Heihachi is a bunch of illegitimate children all over the world. Lars is one of the favorites. You know, people kind of like Lars. You know, we knew of to this point, and now here is probably another one in Reina. And what leads most of us to believe this at this point is Harada tweeted quite a while ago that Heihachi has a bunch of illegitimate children all over the world. I saw this tweet sort of resurfacing after the Reina trailer as well. And before the trailer begun at the Evo showcase, Harada said to JDCR, you know, he really wanted to rub it in JDCR's face for some reason, to JDCR that Heihachi Mishima is completely dead. Like he made that completely clear before we got into the trailer. Then we get Reina. Obviously, this is most likely some kind of offspring of Heihachi. So now that we're on the same page, I think I can continue with where my theory is going for this lore on Reina. And before we begin, please do not forget to like and subscribe. It's completely free, costs you nothing, helps me out greatly, especially if you guys want to see more lore style videos like this, a lot of theory crafting. I want to talk about Victor a lot as well, so that'll be coming in the future. So please remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will not miss any future videos. So Reina, I think she's very unique. There's a lot going on with the character, gameplay wise, personality wise, story wise. I think she will really mix things up moving forward in Tekken, because we're gonna go under the assumption that Tekken 8 will not be the last Tekken. There's going to be more Tekkens moving forward, most likely. You know, the fighting game needs to evolve, the story needs to evolve. So I think moving forward, Reina is going to be very big in that. Like, it's been a very long time since we've had a new character come to Tekken that's very clearly going to have a lot of importance when it comes to the story. I guess the last time you can really say that happened was Tekken 6 with Lars, right? Because Lars is Heihachi's illegitimate child. He joined the fray. He's part of this force. He's here to help out the world, etc., etc. Jin's trying to destroy the fucking planet. So, you know, that's what's going on here. And I guess the first aspect I really want to touch on Reina is gameplay wise. Now, everything we have about the character is only seen throughout the trailer, story wise, whatever, gameplay wise, personality wise. So there's not too many conclusions we can fully draw, but there is a lot of speculation to take from it. One of the main things Michael Murray mentioned when it came to Reina, and also as a whole PlayStation blog about this as well, is duality. There's duality when it comes to Reina, duality in her gameplay, duality in her personality as well, and also her design. You know, there's a lot of two-tone going on. There's the black and the purple. And when it comes to the gameplay, I think that is where it shines through the most, because she has very distinct styles from what we've been able to see. Her fighting style comes from Taido, which is a Japanese martial art that I'd never heard of before this. And I actually went and looked up some Taido footage, some championship matches after watching the trailer. It is very characteristic of one of the first things we saw Reina do was that walk back, right? Which again, we don't know what that is. That just a stance style getaway. Is like Heihachi when he runs away. We're doing back 3+4. Is it just a walk back animation? We aren't too sure right now, but that is very characteristic of the martial art Taido. Then a lot of the sort of more acrobatic style moves where she's like leaning on the floor and kicking out. All of that is very representative of Taido. And then we come back to the duality. She then has the Mishima, a lot of Heihachi style moves, right? One of the first things we saw her do when she talks to Kazuya, well, actually the first thing she does after seeing Kazuya is an electric. She's doing a lot of, she's doing Heihachi's Omen parry, she's doing his Raijin parry, she's doing Omen Thunder God Fist, you know? So it's like blending those two styles together looks like it's going to be very important when it comes to her gameplay wise. And then we also saw sometimes different stances when it came to Reina stuff. It could have just been idle stances or like actual stance active, you know, something with an inbuilt parry in it. We don't know for now, but there was a lot of different moving parts when it came to that character. And then you cannot mention the duality of the character without also talking about her personality as well. You know, one of the first things we ever saw about that character, one of the first things that's striking that came out about her was that cocky nature, right? What is it the first thing that she said? Try your hardest, push me to my limit, right? So it's very much that cocky nature that we're already seeing from the character. That's one of the first things that drew me to her instantly. You know, seeing that kind of aggression, the arrogance of the characters, or like it's really, I've mentioned this many times when it comes to Tekken 8. I think this is the first time I can say it about a character. The personality of the characters really shines through. I've mentioned it mainly in gameplay for a lot of characters. Nina with the guns, having something new to do. Feng's emphasis on his stances like shifting clouds. But now we're seeing it in the personality of what the character brings to the table in more of a personal role than just what they're doing in the game. And then the main switch when it comes to this character, and this is where the big question lies right now for me anyway, is in her interaction with Jin. Jin and Kazuya both ask Reina who she is because clearly they don't know, and I want to talk about that. That's a big point for me later on in this video. They both ask who she is, and then when she's talking to Jin, she replies like this. And what I find very interesting in that is literally the complete contrast coming out right there. Now, a lot of people have said that it's the way she says Jin Senpai is her being sarcastic, and it's said more in a mocking tone. But it can also be interpreted as sort of like the duality of the character there. Is there some kind of personality switch going on? Like, does she have this side to her that's a bit more nice and warm, and then it switches to the more aggressive side, you know? And also, why is she referring to Jin that way in the first place? So there's a lot of questions surrounding that. But then in the Kazuya interaction, it's the laugh, it's you know, this mysterious, like I am a mystery right now, and she's really relishing in that moment as well. So it could be some kind of split personality that we're seeing in the character, or it's all the same. You know, that's when it comes to the Jin Senpai, it's that still that aggression, still that arrogant nature, but it's just more in, it's just, you know, she's still mocking, you know, in this tone as well. And while we're on the topic, I guess we need to talk about her importance to the story, which I think is very big. And going back to these interactions with Jin and Kazuya, I want to know what importance she has to the story mode in the game. Because as far as we can see between this interaction between them, Jin and Kazuya both are completely unaware who she is. We are under the understanding that she is most likely Heihachi's daughter, but Jin and Kazuya at this point don't know who she is. So are we going to go through the entire story mode? Is Reina not really going to appear that much maybe at the end? And then there's questions. Are the questions going to be answered in the story mode? Do we even know that, right? Or maybe once you finish story mode, then they have different interactions. I think that'd be pretty cool. You know, so it's not spoiled for people if they haven't played the story mode and they just run into someone in ranked or some shit. So I think that'd be pretty cool if they did something like that, right? Like, only when you finish the story mode, you get the interaction with, because he's like, oh, my long lost sister or some shit. I don't know. But what importance does she play in the story? Like, she must have some kind of big role in the story, right? I think the battle between Jin and Kazuya, that is going to be the main focus. Other characters get involved as well, which I think is cool. We've seen glimpses of the story mode at different parts. You know, the part where like Huang and Lars are running into battle. We've seen Ling fighting the Jacks on Yakushima. We've got Nina walking with the Jacks as well. So I think there's going to be a lot moving on the story. I think even in some of the bios as well, they mention stuff that's going on, like Zafina. I think Zafina, Ling, and Claudia are linking up and shit. So I'm really excited for the story mode in Tekken 8. I want to do a whole video talking about that by itself. But where does Reina come into play? And also, where does Jun come into play? Which I think is pretty interesting to mention in Jun, because someone left a comment on one of my videos saying something like she could have been trained by Jun, or like Jun took her in or something like that, took Reina in. I think it's an interesting theory. I think it'd be fun to see something like that. But I think considering Reina's personality, how she's come out, I don't think her being raised by Jun really makes that much sense. I don't think Jun would have allowed this sort of nature to build in her, right? But it's a possibility. We don't know anything for right now. Some people are saying potentially she was trained in secret by Heihachi, and I think that's very interesting, that kind of theory, because what I believe, if we do follow that theory, the reasoning behind that could be Reina is to act as a last solution, a last resort for Kazuya. If Heihachi could not defeat Kazuya in the end, if he couldn't make it happen, if he does believe at some point Kazuya does end up killing him, this was his backup plan, and that is Reina. And considering the timeline, that does kind of make sense, because around Tekken 8 time, Kazuya is somewhere around 50 years old, something like that. And the information I've been able to find tells me that around Tekken 2, Kazuya was around 28 years old. So there's a 22 something year gap between Tekken 2 and Tekken 8. And I can't remember which game it was where Kazuya throws Heihachi off the cliff. I can't remember which way that went round, but considering the age, we know for a fact that Reina goes to Mishima Polytechnic, which is the school that Jin, Ling, and Miharu went to. She is currently a student of that school, meaning she is probably between the age of 16 to 20, would say. I don't know when high school or secondary school ends in Japan, but we're going to say between 16 and 20. That timeline does kind of match up. I think around this time, we're going to see Heihachi start to fear what's going on with Kazuya. He's going to start to be worried. Perhaps he has another illegitimate child. Well, he would have had one before that point as well, and that was Lars. Perhaps he has another child as well. He's like, okay, I need to train this child in secret. Kazuya cannot know that she exists. And then when the time comes, she'll be the one to deal with him. But then I do also wonder what that means for the power scaling as well between the characters. I mean, power scaling doesn't really mean shit in Tekken, if we're going to be honest, you know. Canonically, Hwoarang is actually one of the strongest characters in Tekken, so it kind of doesn't mean anything. But either way, you know, we are most likely going to have the battle between Kazuya and Jin in Tekken 8. And I'm assuming Jin should win that if we're going by sort of how the history has gone. The last time these two fought was Tekken 4, I believe, and that was when Jun beat both Heihachi and Kazuya, and he hadn't even gone into devil form yet. He just had the mark on his chest. He was almost activating it at that point, but he wasn't there yet. I don't believe Kazuya has ever fought Devil Jin in one of the games anyway. I think Blood Vengeance, the movie, something happened there. He's never fought Devil Jin yet. He's never seen Devil Jin as far as I'm aware. So then with that sort of boost, I wonder how that goes. Obviously, you know, Jin himself, he's never fought Devil. So he's never fought Devil Kazuya. So I think there will be an interesting structure of how that goes. So I think Jin most likely wins, ends Kazuya, and then Reina hops into play. And does Reina act as the next protagonist or antagonist? Like, it's going to be really interesting to see how Reina comes into this and where that leads the story moving forward. One of Jin or Kazuya most likely die in the story mode, and Reina then probably has to hop up and then clean up the mess somehow. Or maybe they both live. Maybe Jun saves everyone. We have no idea. But either way, I'm very excited to see how this plays out. The Tekken 8 story mode may be the best story mode that Tekken has ever Tekkened. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we get when the game comes out. I'll be playing through the story mode extensively, and I'll be having a great time with it. I hope you guys have a great time with it too. I hope you guys also enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one.